Welcome to The Lion's Den with Seth, a podcast where progressive men and women can learn and teach each other the ways of the land. The Lion's Den is where royalty comes to council. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Seth.
Everybody, how y'all doing? This is another episode of The Lion's Den. Merry Christmas. How's y'all Christmas?
Merry Christmas, man.
Did you
Pleasure
get
to be back.
Everything
Pleasure
y'all
to be
wanted?
back, brother. Pleasure to be back.
Yeah. So
I ain't getting nothing I wanted.
Wait. Look, let me introduce everybody for those out there that don't know who's all at the in the Lion's Den.
Yeah.
Starting over here, my man. Introduce yourself.
It's DJ AK46 in the building again on your block. Just come back, man, and spend some time with my peeps, man, and kick some knowledge around. Appreciate you having me, brother.
Right on, man. I'm glad that you came back, man. And you, Will, go ahead.
Hey, Ill Will in the building, St. Louis stand up. Hey, it's gonna be a good one. Keep it hot.
Yes, sir. My man's.
Well, my name is Herman. I ain't even thought of my nickname yet. Everybody else got cool nicknames. I haven't thought of mine yet.
Cool Herm.
North Clarksville, Tennessee.
Right. Okay, right on. All right, and everybody, my name is Seth the speaker, and so welcome. So today is good. It's a good one. I love it. We're going to talk about reparations. So not just talk about reparations, but the importance of it and what it means for 2019 and 2020. All right. So let me give you a little bit from the New York Times. Basically what they say is reparations for us is unpaid slave labor, right? Which helped build the United States and created vast wealth created vast wealth that African Americans are barred from sharing. So what I want you guys to think about is, what does reparations mean to you? Now, not necessarily talking about the history of it, because obviously we haven't received it. There's other races, other nationalities that have received it. There's some individuals that feel as though the ones that have received it shouldn't have received it, even though what they were used for, everyone is still benefiting from today. So I ask you, what does reparations mean, and if it's still necessary? What are your thoughts?
Hell yeah, it's necessary. If anyone's out here watching the news, you see a lot of people talking, but not so many people doing. So I equate that as who kind of controls the media, who controls the masses of information that came from people that gained wealth, that benefited from the backs of our ancestors, etc. So when you talk about business, try to do a small business and gotta get a small business loan. How much bullshit do you have to go through, right? So those reparations kind of make the grounds an even playing field, because right now it's very uneven. So you're a DJ, right? So you target your market.
Sure.
And, people that look like us.
Sure.
But if you wanted to go mainstream, how could you see yourself doing that with what you have and what you're working with now?
I mean, you could, because when you have more of a stronger financial base, you can explore into more different things at your whim, but taking a larger chance at things, you know what I'm saying, when you have those opportunities that finances provide. But to your point earlier, I think that the idea of reparations itself it sounds good, but to me it's kind of like a balloon, with no hot air in it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's good at first, so just throw something out there, for instance. A lot of people, when it comes down to it, they talk about money and dollars. Like, how do you equate money and dollars to give to families of former slaves or what have you, right? And so the thing is, like, you could probably trace anybody's history. At some point, it probably crosses over to where some of these people were slaves, okay? A lot of black folks in America didn't necessarily just come over. They came from the Caribbean too, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of them too. They had the same thing. So how do you run all that down and decide what's a good number to give to people? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just an extremely difficult thing to do. Now, you could just come up with a round number, right? But the bottom line for me, now I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let it go. You just can't put money in the hands of people or anybody, okay, that doesn't understand how to use it or work it out or whatever. You cannot do it. The money, man, I done lost so much money in my lifetime, man. I wish I could get back. I'd be a millionaire right now. now. And I had to learn a lot of stuff the hard way. But there's a lot of people that don't have any idea about any of these things that can really affect their life and change their lives if they had the right amount of money and did the right things with it.
Absolutely.
So again, it's a lot of sides
it's a lot
to it,
of
man.
different factors. So
and so I don't know. It's a big question mark for me.
Yeah, now it's a lot of factors, but the reason why we're talking about this today is I don't know if you guys saw the news, right? But Ben Carson said that reparations is a unworkable subject or a way to help out, help us out. Now keep in mind, there are over 47 million individuals that consider themselves Africans or African Americans, and not to consider individuals that's migrated over. So to your point, how do we put a dollar amount on there? But what I would like to entertain is a dollar amount necessary?
No.
Is it money? So speak on it. What you think?
No, and it's funny that information came from Ben Carson because he's sitting in the position to where reparations need to happen.
Bruh.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times when we talk about like slavery and how can we tell who's the descendant of slaves, I don't even think we need to go that far. We can still go back as far as mortgages and housing acts that was done to our grandparents and our parents. You know what I'm saying? Like every time we bring up slavery, they use that, oh, well, we don't know who slaves, and then we get stuck on that argument when we have something a lot more recent that America needs to make amends for. So that's why I find it funny that Ben Carson says that. So in my mind, reparations wouldn't be about a dollar amount. It'd be about, hey, how can we fix these communities, make mortgages, give advantages, not make it even, because we making it even is not going to do anything.
That's right.
It's got to be something that is targeted towards black people, black communities, to make it an advantage.
Such as infrastructure,
yeah,
right?
right. Maybe infrastructure. So to your point, since the history, right? The history not even redlining, going back as far as slaves, our ancestors came in undocumented, right? So there was no documentation until the slave owners put us down as property.
With their last names.
Then you have the last names. Then it's like I have, let's say, Millers. I got this Miller, this Miller, this Miller, this Miller. Now you're documented, right? But other immigrants that come over or that has done things and that has received reparations, there's documentations of them coming over here. Then there's nothing talking about the sex farms. Right? I don't know if you guys heard about that. Sex farms, this was in Virginia, it's a city in Virginia, where they will blindfold, right, all the slaves, male and female. So you don't know, you can be having sex with a family member just so they can, have more, reproduce. You get what I mean? So it's hard, like you're saying, to put a dollar amount on it. So I believe you and I agree with you. I don't think a dollar amount is necessary. But however, what if you were king for the day or queen for the day? What would you do to help advance us? Because I think you brought it up. Giving a person money, especially if they're not financially sound, it's like a person winning $1 million, right? You give it a couple of months, even a year, they're gonna put the money back into whatever their habit was at. So if you were queen or king for the day, right, what would you do to help advance our people?
So the first thing that need to be done is a true actual study about what needs to happen. And we can't expect that whatever is going to happen is going to fix the problem tomorrow. We might not even see the benefits of it. Our kids might see it towards the tail ends of their lives. You know what I mean? But something has to start off small and gradually build up. To like I said. Fix the housing, like the housing interest for black people. Make it deliberate. Say, hey, we're doing this because black people are owed this, and make that known. Don't try to sugarcoat it and say, hey, we're doing this for all low income families or nothing like that. This is deliberately for black communities and black people to make amends for the atrocities of the past.
Yes. Go ahead.
Those are excellent ideas. Those are excellent ideas. I think also too, something else that we kind of have to address is kind of our self-love of who we are and trust in one another. I find it strange that, here it is in 2019, we don't have that one black man that we look up to and everybody say, yeah, man, I want to follow him. I believe in him. You know what I'm saying? Like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X or, or Adam Clayton Powell or whoever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel like we trust anybody enough. and we feel like we need them enough to put our faith in somebody. You know what I'm saying? We have a hard time trusting. I'm talking about as a people. So just within ourselves, you know what I'm saying? We say, hey man, it's always something. Hey, that pastor got a big old church. He driving that car. Man, hell no, he ain't doing the right thing with that money. I mean, it's just automatic, it seems like, with us. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's something that we need to also address at some point. Try to get over that.
So I would say I would target the education system. Right. Because the way to really get after it is to get to the root cause. If people are not educated here, that's where the foundational cause should be kind of focused. Because if you don't know anything about credit, taxes, credit, you know how important those things are at a young age, how to balance a, what you say, a checkbook, who old school? Checkbooks, yeah, we still got those, right? If you can get that education early, it kind of helps you kind of predict what your pathway could be, because you have more knowledge starting out. And what they say, when you go to school and you learn something, you can then just bring that back home, because your parents more likely don't know it themselves. That's right. If you don't know it. Because it truly starts in the household, but if mom doesn't know, dad doesn't know, grandpa doesn't know, big mama gone. So you get, what, grandma 36, 37? I ain't babysitting shit, remember that? So you gotta be able to have an education somewhere. So I think that's where it starts.
Okay, so look, I gotta call it in. Hold on one moment. Hey, we got Black. Black, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right. Well, look, congratulations, you made it. All right. So speak on it, brother. What you got?
What's going on, fellas? I just want to say,
Black?
man,
What's going on, dude?
you guys are doing
Good.
What's going on? You guys are doing some awesome things, man. I just wanted to chime in a little bit when it came to the reparations. You guys are hitting some pretty heavy topics, making some pretty valid points as I'm listening. So I just wanted to address two issues you guys brought up. So the first one would be in response to Ben Carson's article about it's kind of a subject that's kind of I guess beyond our approach to solve it. I would say I don't believe that's the case, because like you guys mentioned, right, a lot of folks mentioned that money's not is not going to solve this problem, right? So when we think about reparations, right, the slaves or the freed slaves at the time were promised the 40 acres and a mule. That's not going to solve our problems in today's day and age, right? We're behind socially and economically because we were held back or cut out from a lot of programs that allowed other cultures to kind of advance, right? So you guys mentioned redlining a little bit. But to Will's point, when you're talking about the education system, my take on this would be, I do think it's a solvable problem. And I think there's several ways to approach this. The first would be, obviously a handout's not going to solve anything. So giving people however set of money, dollar amount, that's not going to do us any justice or anything. That might set us back a little bit, because we all know some people are going to wild out and do some things that are irresponsible with the money.
Right.
So some potential solutions to this problem would be to and I hate to use the term like government programs or government sponsored programs, but because we were held out of so many programs in the past, there has to be something set aside for us. Right. When I say us, it's going to be a little harder to prove the folks that have direct lineage or direct ties to slave owners, right? But however, every minority, especially African Americans or black people, right? Let's just say black, were encompassed in those programs that left us out of things, right? Anybody that was a minority, that was a black person, was left out of certain real estate markets, real estate opportunities. We couldn't have bank accounts, we couldn't go to school. So there should be programs to teach us how to become more financially responsible, teach us things like taxes, business, give people business grants, business loans, startups. There should be think tanks in our communities that we can go to and say, hey, what can we do? And we have a means for that already, right? A lot of people, when you start mentioning reparations, they're going to say things like, hey, we don't have money to pay for it. Right, I don't want to spend my tax dollars on something that I wasn't even around for. However, right, with this new wave of legal marijuana, that is the perfect opportunity to use those tax incentives, right? The revenue generated through legalized marijuana to start these programs in inner cities, these business opportunity programs, these school programs that allow us to kind of do a little bit of catching up, because we're far behind, and we can do our part. We can pass it on to our kids, our next generation, but will we ever catch up?
You know, really good point. I just want to get at it real fast.
Thanks for calling, bro. Hey, keep watching, man. We appreciate you.
All right, cool.
All right, later. Go ahead. What you got, brother?
Yeah, hey man, that was a really well spoken and well put point that you made there, man. I appreciate that call. That was excellent in my eyes. The one thing I just want to address with that too is, like, again, you know, the programs are great, but again, this infrastructure thing, right? Like, we need somebody that's going to push these kids. So which generation are we trying to save? Are we trying to save the ones that's already in the streets, kind of wilding out? These are young people now. I'm talking 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old out there running out, wilding, doing what? Are we trying to save them with these programs? Are they going to go to these schools? Are they going to say, hey, this is a better option for you than doing what you're doing? Or are we trying to push this to kind of like that younger generation, the kids that aren't born yet, kind of putting some infrastructure in? But see, the household has to be strong.
And that's what
you got to have somebody pushing these kids and keeping an eye on them. Right. So many things happen, man, because these kids are running around without no supervision too early, and they being just kind of grabbed by the social media thing and just kind of pressed into being whatever, you know what I'm saying? They're not caring.
So look,
they're not caring.
Look, to your point and what I believe, and you guys can chime in, I would say the future. Right, I think we should focus more on the future, but also planting seeds today. You dig what I'm trying to say? So when it comes back to what you're saying as far as being at the home and being in the home, our children, we've spoke about this before, but they're going to gravitate to what we show and what we put importance into. So if we don't put importance into, our finances or to the growth and development of the mind, they won't. How? But you know what they're going to gravitate to? If they're going to see how I floss with my J's, they're going to grow up wanting to emulate that. You get what I'm saying? They're going to want that thing. So I have to show them, hey, you know what's important? Get in the business. So like my daughter, she for her sweet 16, for her birthday, I'm going to buy her a business. Not a car, nothing, a business. So whatever it is her passion is into, okay, baby, I'm about to show you how to monetize your passion. You get what I'm saying? But it started with me because business is important to me. But if I did not have that thought process or didn't understand where I come from and that history can repeat itself, if you get what I'm saying? If I'd never had that, then I wouldn't be able to even have the drive to do it because I'm looking at my future self, right? So, and now let's take it this way. What would you tell your future self, your children, about the importance of the reparations that they take, not wait for? Because the real part of this conversation is not how do we receive it, but how do we take it. You dig it?
Yeah, that's a new direction right there. I just want to make one point very quick.
I'm tired of hold that because Ben Carson was out of line. You dig what I'm saying? So, but the thing is, to what you're saying, we can't wait for somebody to Obama came, he's gone, God bless him. But we have our own responsibility to be accountable enough to make those moves. You dig what I'm saying?
That's the problem. We're waiting for someone to do something.
We're waiting for somebody with a cape on. What you gonna say, brother?
I just want to ask you real fast. So that means that all of that, you were not gonna get your daughter a car? That's all I want to ask you, man.
He's gonna teach her how to get a car, earn her own car.
Okay.
I'm gonna teach her how to get whatever she wants.
I'm messing with you. So that's good stuff. Yeah, for sure.
But seriously, how would you do that for your children? You got
his daughter,
and you got girls. Yeah. You got a daughter. You dig what I'm saying? So not only do we have to teach them how to watch out for the younger me's, because I was crazy, bruh. I was so far out of line. So I'm glad she's here. You dig? Because now I'm like, nah, baby, that's a lame. I used to do that lame shit. But outside of that, how do you teach your daughters and your future how to take reparations instead of wait?
It's the same as what you talked about as far as business goes. Me coming up, nobody really talked to me about getting a business. They talked to me about working the factory or joining the military.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was really not that much guidance. And it wasn't that I had bad parents. You know, my parents just worked, and they didn't really thought about, hey, what do I need to tell this kid? You know what I'm saying? So for me, you know what I'm saying, I'm looking at my kid like, hey, delivering, like, what are you guys interested in? What do you want to do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to dance? Like, how far do you want to take it?
That's right.
So it's similar to what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Let them know that, hey, the world is bigger than what I'm just doing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, you see me in the military, my kids say, I want to join the military. Well, let's not set the limit there.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's there. That's where you need to go. But, hey, there's a whole world out there, you know what I'm saying, that that you need to go see.
Yes.
That's how I would do it.
Okay.
So to your point, you kind of brought up emphasis on discipline. Kids don't have discipline or respect for anything, right? That military can kind of set that foundation for them, so it's not a bad thing when you kind of need to refocus people. But what would I go back and tell my daughters? I would show them my blind spots. I would show them the things I know now that I wish I knew then.
There you go. Right.
Where I can start grinding here versus here. But I will say, I don't care who you are, it's never too late to make that change.
That's right.
Sure. Yeah, no, just to that point, yeah, I got it. I think there needs to be some efforts, period. But at the same time, too, I think overall, kind of reaching down, like I said, these people sometimes you have to show somebody the right way, but they kind of got to be able to listen too. You know what I'm saying? And kind of humble themselves to take those opportunities. You got to show these opportunities are there, and this could be to your advantage. But sometimes they take it or leave it. Maybe we need to try to find somebody else to take this opportunity.
Absolutely.
But as long as the opportunities are there, to your point, and that to the point we're still pressing and putting it in there so we can make it happen for them. Yeah, it's all good all the way across the board.
So look, real quick, we're gonna go and read these comments. Hey, brother, can you read that one up there?
So my girl Dorothy.
Hey, what's up, Dorothy? Go ahead.
She said, even without money, look at the Native Americans' treaty benefits, education, housing, healthcare, and many other things provided, even areas of land. And these communities build off of those things. We could do more with.
Yes. Great comment.
No, you gotta use the what you call the pad. So, but anybody got any more comments on that? Oh, what you got? What else you got?
So no knock on fatherless homes. My boy Jason. No knock on fatherless homes or the work of single parents. But fixing that is another important factor for fixing the community. Reparations should include trauma-informed counseling for those affected by policies that led to increase of our incarcerations with separated black families. Get some snaps over here.
Yes.
We say education and criminal justice reforms are solution, and Trump did both those things, but we won't acknowledge that it's happening in small steps.
Yeah.
Great comment.
So,
great feedback.
So when we're talking about like the 10 and 12-year-olds, like, are we trying to reach them? Now, we got to remember, it's like 300-400 years of being down. We can't expect to fix that within the next 10 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got to know, like you said, we need a strong black leader. Like, who's the one that's going to get the community together? You know what I'm saying? To follow, like, hey, look, we're not going to see the benefits of this. We're not going to see that, but we're doing this for our kids, our grandkids.
People got to sacrifice down.
Yeah, we gotta know that that's what's going to happen.
Hey, I hate to say it, but no, I do. This is what it is. This is a space of transparency. And hold that thought. I would say if we do have individuals in our community that are already in positions of leadership, but not doing what they're, and I'm gonna say this. Hold on. You know where I'm going.
All right, no.
So now maybe they focus on getting that Bentley. Maybe they focus on getting that new Jag, that new X6, whatever the case it is. Maybe they just focus on preaching certain things to you just so you can keep yourself mentally stagnant. But I believe that if that pastor, that community leader would humble themselves, because we're going back to being, the humility standpoint of it. Say, you know what, guys, let's come together. The church fund. Here's the church fund. Hey, y'all wouldn't give an offering, but you can give church fund. How about we put you feel me? So how about we put that fund into a community business? Right. You get what I'm saying? Now, if they are a business leader, not business leader, but a community leader, and then they take that leadership, right? Different congregations, let's come together. Instead of having a monthly jamboree when everybody get together and try to raise an offering, let's try to raise an offering for this next generation.
Got to see how the Chinese did Chinatowns all over.
Bro, you get what I'm saying?
Like,
oh my God.
They popped up, they flourishing and stuff like that. Like, we could do that, but instead of tearing our stuff, like, you go to MLK and it's all torn down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could be our Chinatown.
That could.
You know what I'm saying?
That could.
So I'm going to introduce something, right? We were talking about identifying a leader, someone to lead that charge. You got 4 men sitting here at the table, and I must speak on what I have at the top of my card. The action of one can change the world. That's where it starts. Each individual, you take your own area of responsibility, your own area of impact, and you start to make that difference. Because ultimately, you're going to resonate to other people and so on and so forth. So it does not start with one individual. It would be great if we had someone that had that in or that advocate for certain markets that we're not able to reach.
We do.
But it starts with us. You know what I'm saying? That's where it starts at.
Can you dig it?
Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can definitely dig it.
And that's the truth. I can dig that.
But we have that person, and hopefully he'll step up and do exactly what we're talking about. And I'm talking about the ex-president Barack Obama. You know what I'm saying? He is somebody that everybody followed behind, voted, put him in office. You know what I'm saying? And I understand. You know, during his presidency, I can't do it. I'm handcuffed and doing all. You ain't president now. I know you getting that Netflix accounts and all.
He's
you
getting
getting your stuff.
And you know what's crazy though? He challenged us after the presidency when he saw, you know, the direction that we was going in because of who's in office now. He said, "You don't have to wait. You get what I mean?
Right.
You don't have to wait." And he put the onus back on us as individuals.
Should be.
He might be tired.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's another thing, because you remember how he looked when he first came in, and now he look like the Grim Reaper now.
Right.
Okay, here and shit,
He
you
might
know.
be tired.
Yeah, that's a tough job. That's a tough job.
Bruh.
That's a tough job.
It is. It is. So, do we have any questions out there? Anybody going live? Anything you want to add?
I don't have any questions. I was just gonna comment on that.
Oh, come on up to the mic, Larry.
It don't have to be a black leader. It just needs to be a leader. That's about humankind.
Yes.
Human
Yeah.
in general.
Humankind, human rights.
Yeah, I see Herm up in the building, baby.
Because when you think about the civil rights era, it was more than just a black man leading. Yeah, that was the face, but it took all races to make it happen. So that's why I'm just chiming in on that.
Okay, I can dig it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so again, this is Reparations, and I want you guys to take this and continue the conversation. And just think about not what you can receive, but what you can take instead of waiting for it. And that is the first half of it, and we appreciate it. We will be right back.
Lights out.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. The Lion's Den podcast is made possible by listeners like you.
Getting ready to
Thank you for your support.
be back.
Now, back to the show.
So should I dare not mention that white people didn't endure slavery too? Was that not the time?
Say what now?
Because that
They
right.
endured slavery too.
Because
Please bring that up.
You know, I think that's the thing about as far as to kind of.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. The Lion's Den podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. This is the second half of the Lion's Den. How's everybody?
Good.
Hey, man, we always good, baby.
All right, everybody got your nums?
Yeah.
Yes, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. If y'all still around, we appreciate it, and thanks for sticking around and being active on this topic. So, yeah, side pieces. Now, I spoke a little earlier about what we're not going to do. We're not going to talk about the benefits of a side piece as far as the negative aspect, but what we are going to discuss is the mental state of mind and what it may cause and what individuals need when it comes down to a side piece, and how it's nothing new. The only thing that is new is technology. You understand? But individuals in their own respective households, they may have had that other individual. And the question is why. So, are you guys familiar with Pokey Bear? Y'all know who Pokey Bear is?
Oh, man, 70s pimp.
70. Huh? Who was Pokey
I
Bear?
came
Must be
home.
from Detroit.
What is
You
it?
say,
Hey,
There you go.
Oh,
He was
you
my
talking
side. There you
about-
go. You see that? Hey, but look, nobody know the brother name, but they know the song. But see, here's the question: do y'all know about Miss Veronica?
oh yes.
You know about Miss
No.
Miss Veronica and Miss Lorraine? You guys know who that is?
Go and tell us.
Okay, so these are young ladies that actually gave a reply.
Oh.
Yes, to the side piece. So basically, what the song talks about is, while you had your side piece, I understand your situation, but I had a sugar daddy. So
That's
Pokey
just
Bear,
wrong right
so
there.
look, Pokey Bear might have been broke. You know what I'm saying? So I want you guys to think about that. So what does that mean today? What do you guys think about that? And Herman, since you helped come up with this conversation and this topic, what do you think about the side piece?
What I think about the side piece and what it means today, I think that it's thrown in more people's faces today because of social media.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? With social media, music and stuff like that, it's a more celebrated role. Yeah, back in the day, you know, I talked about it on my Facebook not too long ago. Back in the day, it was common, I guess it was common to have a second family. You know what I'm saying? But nobody really spoke on that. Today, man, they'll put you on blast if you don't do right.
That's right.
All over Facebook. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think the difference is today is social media puts you in a position to where, hey, if you don't buy me that Valentine's gift, it's on and popping. I'm blow your whole stuff up.
Okay. All right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have ladies to speak on the topic, and I want to say, hey, you know. So I want y'all to come correct as far as what y'all think. Look, y'all, cheese and cheese. And so we got Miss Tamara. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. And we have Miss Lee. How are you, ma'am?
Hello.
All right. Your first time here. Welcome. So, speak on it. What do you guys think? Not necessarily, like I said, the physical aspect of it. Like wrong is wrong, and we all agree about that. If I'm right or wrong, y'all speak on that. But what do you think the mental thought process of it is when it comes down to side piece?
Well, like I asked earlier, what is a side piece? What do you consider a side piece?
Well, I think it depends on the individual. What do you consider a side piece?
Oh, that's a good question. What do I consider a side piece? I really don't look at it. Well, let me see. I don't even know how to put this. Let me let you step in first. Let me have to think about that.
Okay.
So first, I want to put my disclaimer.
Speak up.
First, I want to put my disclaimer out there. I don't even like the term side piece, right? So we could start there. But for me, a side piece is anybody you have in addition to your primary partner. So without using the term side piece, that's what that role would be. Yes.
Ain't that just basically cheating? Basically, that's what it is, right?
It depends.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. So it's not. So I think that we can say that it's cheating, right? I think we can say that, and we can agree that that's what it is. But what we want to discuss is the thought process behind it. Why? So think about the twofolds. What about the man, or think about the young lady that's a side piece, and why is it okay for her? Why does she think that it's okay? You get what I mean?
So I go from two perspectives, right? You got an individual, whether it's male or female, that to me are greedy. They feel that they need to get everything from this one person, and they don't kind of honor the flaws as well as the good things they like within the individual, and they go out to seek those from somebody else. And it's kind of normalized now. Side piece is a normalized term that you hear on a regular basis. But the WHA Factor is you think about the divorce rate, how that impacts people as they talk about relationships, commitment, the whole nine. It's cool. They say it keeps the relationships fresh. You know, let me give me a side chick. You know, it's a little vulgar term for that. I ain't gonna go there. But that's a standard that some people have. But to me, that you don't have a man to look at as an image, or a woman to look at as an image to kind of see what that standard should be for you. You don't see there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. I think it's a personal choice based on lack of education.
You think it's a lack of education?
For the individual?
Yes.
So check it out. Is you got a man and he's with a woman, but he chooses to go out and be with somebody else and have his side piece. So when you piss this man off, this man is going to this other individual. He has not been taught to deal with adversity in his own relationship, so he takes the easy road to go to somebody else. Get his kudos off and then come back and play husband and play boyfriend because he's cool now. But he didn't know how to deal with that with you, or he either did not want to. So it became a scapegoat for that individual, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to be taught how to deal with certain things versus run from it. To me, as you going outside your relationship, you running from something.
Well, some relationships could be like a business though. You know what I mean? Like when you're married to somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's not just about we're in love. You got things combined with each other, home, kids, and all that stuff. So it's not so easy to be like, you know, I'm just going to leave, right?
Correct.
And then, but you're not happy at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Now you done found happiness in this other person. You know, they satisfy a need that you have that your partner, your life partner, can't give you. So do you just get a divorce and be like, hey, I'm out of here because I need to find this happiness on the outside. You know what I mean? Like it gets to be a tricky situation. Like it's easy to sit back and be like, man, I wouldn't do this and wouldn't do that. But then when you're in that position, you're like, man, I don't actually want to leave this person. I don't want to leave my kids, my family. We got a good thing going, but I'm not all the way happy. You know what I mean? But
So with that being said, should that person say, okay, this is the compromise. This is the compromise. Even though I'm not all the way happy, maybe I should just sit tight and understand that that's a part of my life that I will not fulfill.
Absolutely not.
You know? So, okay, what do you mean?
No, absolutely not. See, and I think people have a false expectation of marriage.
Okay.
Like people want to be married, people are in marriages, but they don't realize the sacrifice and the work it takes to be in the marriage, right? So even though you're in a marriage of a party of two, like you still have yourself. Like it's made up of two individuals. And so you are entitled as a person to be happy. And if that person is not fulfilling all your needs, and if you have tried, if you have communicated, if you have sought counseling, and if you have did everything that you wanted to do, then I do think sometimes people arrive at a point where you said, like, you know, I can't just leave because I have a home with this person, I have kids with this person, I have a business with this person, I have investments with this person. You know, so I just cannot leave. However, I have my needs too. And so I'm not gonna leave this 80%, but this 20% over here that I'm in need of is very valuable to me. So I'm not condoning why people cheat, but I do understand it.
so do we be open about it? I mean, because there's a thing like open relationships is a thing.
And I think
I
that's
don't
what
think men can handle that.
I don't think
I could.
and me neither. I think that to your point, it's a time to be transparent, and you need to know who you are being honest with, and say, hey, I love you, I appreciate everything you do for me, but you know what, I really like hopscotch, and you don't have any legs. I love everything that you do. See, now I'm going this, right? So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm spinning it, but understand what I'm saying. I love everything that you have to offer, right? I love we can play patty cake, right? We can, play, we can shoot darts and everything, but I really love the hopscotch. You can't do that because you don't have legs. Should I not do that too? Is that part of the marriage deal? You get what I'm saying? So does that come into play? Say, so listen, baby, I feel as though you should either come with me while we find someone that I can play hopscotch with. Because if you think about it, that other person that play hopscotch with you may not be a woman. Maybe just another guy that you just want to, play hopscotch with. So does that other individual feel away because that, somebody calling. I don't know if he calling. Anyway, so does that individual, play into that? Hold on 1 second. I think we got a caller. Hello?
Hopscotch, huh?
The PG,
Right,
the
yeah.
G version.
Oh, yeah.
And what do we have? Who do we have online? Is this Brad?
Yeah, this Brad.
Hey, what's up, man? You speaking on the topic?
Oh man, I was calling you about something personal, brother. I didn't know.
No, see. Hey, well, guess what? Hey, you live right now, Bradley. So everybody, ladies and gentlemen, this is my man's Brad. How you doing, brother? So, hey, so you on the line. So just give me your 2 cents on your thought process of a side piece. What do you think that looks like in 2019?
You on the spot?
Oh my goodness.
Wife sitting right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's open. You know what I mean? It's all good. What do you think?
You said thought process on a side piece?
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk on up the room. Come on, kid.
Side,
Let's go.
She gonna walk out alone. Go ahead.
Yeah, we gone. Hey, Miller.
Hey.
Be real,
yeah,
son.
I'm gonna have to catch you on the flip side, brother.
You got to go. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, well, listen, bro. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm gonna hit you back a little later. All right.
All right, bro.
I'm gonna add something to the equation. We're talking about side pieces, right? Think about all the hot TV shows right now that everybody's just die hard crazy about. Okay. What standard does it put out there? Everybody got a side piece. The president, the first lady, the housekeeper, the whole nine. It's put in front of you like, is this a normal thing to do? So people have kind of adhered to just that standard. It's cool to do. It's almost how you normalize drugs. Drugs are cool to do for some people.
So you think it's a faddish thing?
Correct.
That
Okay,
and it's, I think it's been a generational thing.
It is.
Okay, what do you mean?
You know, grandparents growing up. You know, Miss Johnson next door to you. You know, she always maybe had someone that always had a side piece. Your granddaddy probably always had a side piece, but he made sure he came home and took care of the family. I'm not saying that that's the right way to do things, but it's just it's been a generational thing.
And you know what? I think back then, since we did not have social media, I think it was easier to be honest about it.
Yes.
Because I believe, and I had a conversation with someone earlier this week about their grandfather knew that the grandmother had a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Now the kids, now look, the kids thought that friend was just Uncle so and so. You get what I'm saying? But the grandfather knew, like, hey, listen, if I can't do it, and I know this guy, you get what I mean? And it's more physical than emotional because I'm taking care of everybody else. He was like, listen, all right, hey, I give up. Right, I give up, and he accepted that. So, to your point, as far as generations, I think personally that's true that it has been going on. We demonize it.
No, it was a lot of women just took that. Hey, you bringing home that check and you taking care of these kids.
Just don't embarrass.
And just don't embarrass.
That's
About respect. Don't put me for that woman to come and say anything ever to me.
Right.
You know, so I think, like I said, it's just been a generational thing. I don't necessarily believe that. I don't know. I just feel in ways with that you can't help what your heart wants.
That's
Exactly.
Right. Aaron, what you think, bro?
Yeah, so,
Go ahead, speak into the mic.
my thing was,
come on up
I
a little
think
bit.
that you said that it's kind of seems like it's kind of like cheating, right? But it is what it is. It's
Yes,
cheating, right?
it is, yes.
But my thing is, it's kind of like if you love somebody enough that you put them before yourself, like you love somebody that you don't want to let them go for whatever reason. You say you don't want to let them go. You got to understand that you really don't love that person.
You don't love yourself, actually.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, that's the other thing.
My thing is,
So
you
that's-
gotta love somebody enough to be honest with them and tell them.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be selfish and be like, well, they providing all these things for me, but I'm gonna go over here on this other way and go ahead and get whatever I'm getting from this other person.
But how many people
Like,
are selfish like that?
But that's what I'm saying. If that's what you're doing, that's a selfish move. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do for yourself. But if you don't need that other person, like if you want something else, go get it. My thing is, you can't have everything. Nobody's perfect, right? You're gonna meet somebody that probably check the block in all 9 areas, but that one area, it ain't right. If that's more important than those other 9. Then guess what? Go get that one.
But what if
You
it's
understand
not?
what I'm saying?
It's not a matter if it's more important. It's just equally important.
It can't be.
It can be.
It can't be.
Why not?
Because here's the bottom line. If you care about the other person, you gonna put that in their face? You gonna tell them this is what I'm doing? See, the whole thing with a side piece is a secret.
See, and that's where we get. That's where we get. No. That's where you mess
So
up.
my thing is, if you gonna put it on the table, put it on the table. Give that person an opportunity to say, I'm gonna go ahead and stay. And then if that's what you're doing, then you got a real side piece. But if you can't tell them, that ain't no side piece.
But oftentimes the side piece is the one that always knows. It's the partner, the spouse that did.
That doesn't know.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if you're truly doing what you're doing for whatever reason it is, should you let that individual know? Say, hey, listen, this is where I'm at. Like I said, back to my first analogy, hey, we both know you don't got legs. All right, we both know. Hey, your nickname is Stubby, okay? But this is what it is, and I'm being 100% with you. Now, what about the individual that hears that and decides to stay?
See, and I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I got a comment from Erin Tucker. She said if it's mutually agreed upon, maybe it's okay. It isn't for me personally, but I know a couple who each have a friend.
See,
exactly.
Did you get what I'm saying? So I think we demonize it by putting that the connotation on side piece, but because the sound it's
a negative connotation associated with it.
Yeah, you're right.
If you doing what you doing, you ain't really calling them a side piece if everybody know.
So what do you call it then?
You know, you got a whole relationship. Yeah, you got somebody else that you see on the cool or do whatever, or even the other person's involved. Your wife or your mate could be involved with that other person as well. But if it's a secret,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? It's not fair to the other person.
And then let's take it to overseas where they believe in 7 or 8 wives. What do you consider those?
It's illegal in the U.S.
I know it's illegal in the U.S.
And so now look, this is what I want you to do. So we don't want to mix legal with mental, right? Because legalities and sin is what you believe in, right? Being perfectly honest, like, okay, obviously I'm stealing, that's wrong. We know that's legally wrong, but was there a need for me to steal? You get what I'm saying? So to bring it back to that, I don't want, if an individual is doing something, it has to be a reason behind it. And I want to make sure people understand that. And again, number 618-792-6747, please give your comments on this because this is very serious. The reason why it's serious is because this is the Purple Velvet topic where we talk about things that we don't normally talk about. Sure. We hide behind it like it don't exist. No, it's in your face every day. You're probably related to a product of it and don't even know it. You get what I'm saying? So let's stop playing. You know what I mean? Let's call it what it is.
So I got 2 comments. One coming from Janora Moore. I know marriages that mutually enjoy side pieces together. That side piece serves its purpose.
It does.
Okay.
And I got another one coming from Miss Crystal Calloway. Hey, girl. Exactly. That's called an open relationship, and the side chick is someone who is on the side. And I agree, it is a secret.
Okay. Good
So
point.
when we having these conversations, it's easy to say what we would and wouldn't do.
That's right.
But as we live in this life, man, sometimes like you're next to somebody, and you don't know the vibe was just there, and it just happens. You know what I mean? It just catches you up, and that doesn't mean that you don't love who you're with any less. You know what I'm saying? Because you fall in and out of love with your spouse or your significant other all the time, but the love is always still there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But this person just gave you a whole new energy that you wasn't even expecting. Probably just made you feel alive for a second. You know what I'm saying? And it just happens. Now, what I define as a side piece is a side relationship. You know what I'm saying? I know we don't like the word, or y'all say y'all don't like the word, but it's not necessarily just cheating. Because, you can have a one-night stand and cheat, but that's not a side relationship.
So I think that's the difference between cheating and having an affair. So when you carry on a full-fledged relationship, that's an affair.
Right.
But when you just getting your rocks off and then getting that instant gratification, that's just cheating. So I think it is a difference that we need to distinguish between.
Which one is okay though?
Neither are.
Okay.
I mean, if we're talking about morally,
it's not okay.
Nothing is not okay. But
That's a good question.
when we're talking about navigating this life as an adult, like you know what I'm saying, things just happen sometimes.
So
But
can
you know what you said? You said the thing about love. You never fall out of love,
speak
right?
up in the mic, man.
You never fall out of love with somebody. The love is always there, but it's not about love. It's about respect. See?
Okay.
And if you gonna kind of take your respect level down for that person, when you gonna step out on them, then you'll do some other too. You understand what I'm saying? It don't stop there. You know what I mean? So my thing is, it's not about love, it's about respect. Respect that person enough if you really love them, respect them enough to give them an opportunity to decide if that's what they want to do. You know, and then go ahead and do what you're gonna do, because that way you say, well, I need to go my way or go this direction. But that's just not fair, is all I'm saying.
You always give
To
a
the
person
person
option
that
to
you know
choose.
what I'm saying?
I believe that.
But to backtrack when we ask which one is okay, or is it okay is what you ask. I believe whatever is consensual. Like if it's consensual, then it's okay. If it's not consensual, it's never okay.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you. I always give a person to choose.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right, got one more comment coming in from Aaron Tucker. Cheating is a secret, and it's usually something someone feels guilty doing because they know they're doing wrong. Maybe side piece isn't the right term to use. Name it what it is, a multi-relationship. Also, sometimes the side piece isn't of sexual nature. That could be meeting a different need.
Yeah,
That's true. Very true.
That's them work
Very true.
husbands and work wives and whatnot.
That's very true.
So I got one that said neither are okay, but connection beyond the physical seems 10 times worse. That's by my girl Shamara Johnson.
And and that's another thing too that I want to kind of hit on. If you're not sexually active outside, but you're mentally stimulated.
Work husband.
That's the one. That can be even powerful.
Right, like you said, it's 10 times powerful. So what do you do about that? Because the deal is that we are all individuals, right? And you have different things we're all wired different, right? And like when you said something might happen, you get a connection, like, wait, hold on. I remember that feeling. You know what I mean? Damn, that felt good. I forgot about that. So what do you do? Say, wait, hold on, wait a minute. This is wrong because it feels too good. Let me go back and say, hey, this is what happened, to my significant other or whatever. What do? Do you, whatever that emotion or that feeling was dormant, and now you got a glimpse of it back. What do you do? Run away from it, or what do you do? And I'm just posing this. I'm just posing a question. You know what I mean? As far as because what's going on right now, I wouldn't call it an epidemic. It's just another thought process. You get what I mean? So we really want to stick to
I think it is kind of
okay, but still, well, look, even with that being said, it's a thought process, but it's not new. You see what I'm saying? The epidemic is like, okay, here's a new sickness. Everybody's catching it, and there's no cure. You see, that's not it. But is there something up in here?
I think it's always been around, right?
Yes,
like people are going to do what they're going to do.
Yes.
People grow over time, right? You might meet somebody and everything is lovely. Y'all vibing on the same stuff. Y'all have an understanding about goals. You know, you guys have a self-respect for one another and everything, right? But then as time grows on, your interests start to change, that person's interests start to change. You guys are growing. The difficult thing is to grow together and stay connected through that time frame. Whether that be a year, 6 months, or whatever, people change, you know what I'm saying? That's why it's so crazy hard for young people really to stay together, because they're growing. So when you go through life and you get to a point where you're 40, 45, 50 years old, man, you done experienced so much stuff, did so many things, dealt with so many people. Now you have a better understanding of what you really want. Absolutely. You have a better understanding of what you need to make you happy. You're more established. You got yourself together. You know, you got your income set up. I mean, it's just different. You know what I'm saying? So again, the mentality is always there. People are gonna engage you and you know, you all of a sudden you're like, man, this chick is beautiful. She's nice. She's smart. But you know, you got somebody going on home. You kind of gotta, hey, put that in its place. Acknowledge it and put it in its place. You know, because if you allow those opportunities to be there, they're gonna take advantage of you.
Okay. Cool. Well, here, before we're gonna get to, go ahead, read that, brother.
So, question for the ladies. My guy Josh Jernigan says, when a woman cheats, they're done. Women have emotional attachments. Men can cheat, never think about it again, but not women aren't capable of doing that.
What y'all think about that? What do you guys think about that?
So I'm gonna say I disagree. So I think in 2020, I think there are more women who just need their physical needs met. It's not always emotional women nowadays. Yeah.
I'm going to say that for me, I mean, people I know it's more emotional. I don't, me stepping out for it's just a physical thing with this, no, I think, it's just, for me, it's just more emotional. It would just be a more emotional.
So you would be done.
I would be done. And that's just, honestly, just the person that I am, per se.
And that's what, I think that's what it all boils down to.
Yes,
right?
it's the individual person.
Right. It's an individual person as far as who we are and the individuals that's watching here live.
I want to know though, but why do, you know, why is it so hard that everybody judge someone that does
and
do
that's
that?
That's what this and that's what this is about tonight.
Because
right?
I mean, you know, people say that they would never do things in life, and I'm a firm believer. Never say never, because you don't know what you're gonna do.
Right, you don't know.
So I think keep living. My mom has always told me keep living. And so I think I think that no one should be judged because it's just, I mean, it shouldn't be a judgment.
So I have a question to pose to the ladies. Okay. Would you all consider emotional connections cheating as it relates to a man?
Yes.
Speak on it.
Yes, very
So
much.
no, and I have dated men in the past who told me that emotional connection with another man, i.e. our work husbands, they considered it cheating, but I don't think an emotional connection is.
Preach.
There you go.
So wait, I didn't hear it. Now say that. Repeat that.
Basically, if you have a woman that has a man that has an emotional connection to someone outside of their relationship, even though they have not physically done anything, is that still considered cheating?
So I would personally say, I would say it depends on what the emotion is. You get what I mean? For example, let's say there's an individual that, let's say for example my wife, right? She loves church. She loves church. She's a church goer. I don't. It's not for me, right? But if she was to connect with someone spiritually at church that she can do outside of me, I would say, all right, well, whatever. Y'all talk about that. I don't know all the books, whatever. You know what I mean? Just come back and cook, whatever. You know what I'm saying? No, I know. I just threw that out there. I did that. Yeah, I did that. But so, you know what I'm saying? All right. Yeah. No, I'm joking. Look, I'm joking. But what I'm saying is that it depends. It's situational, right? But if there's an individual that, like I consider myself a swagadocious individual, right?
Right.
But if someone else happens, I don't know why God would do something like that, make somebody else more swagadocious than me, and she's vibing.
He's sitting right next to you.
Yeah. No, but seriously, then I would take offense. I'm like, all right, this is someone that is me, but better. Mm-hmm. Now I would feel away, but you know what? I would have to be honest and say, I can't, you know what I mean? You got it. You know, now will it hurt? Yeah, I'm gonna be a man. I'm not gonna fight. Like, hey, you know, I'm too old for that. We got other things to, you get what I'm saying? But I have to be honest and say, hey, if I can't, either one or two things. A, keep it real, let me leave, or B, what do I need to do? And that's it.
Right. But I think, you know what, for me is emotional runs just like, you know, how you have someone that physically hurts you or verbally. Mm-hmm. To me, verbal is more than anything, right? So than a physical hit, for me. So emotional will run so deep for me if someone that I love is with some, speaking to someone else. I don't know. It's just it's a soul type of thing, you know. Just it's deep.
I don't think you give it enough credit.
But, yeah.
Go ahead.
I think that if you seen somebody that was really engaged in your wife, like had her engaged, like on a couple different levels, bruh, there's no way that you could be like, oh man, he better than me. There's no way. You got pride, and you got your own self-image. But I'm saying, like, there's no, even if the dude was, like, I couldn't even give him that. I'm like, well, hey, I'm gonna have to holler at him. That's got to stop. There's no way, because again, she's taking that attention away from that's supposed to be given to you.
Now listen. So I'm explaining to you.
She's supposed to give it to you by choice.
Right.
So if she's choosing to push it in another direction, absolutely not. There's no way.
So listen to me. Please keep in mind, I'm not nowhere near perfect. Number one. Sure. Number two, I'm borderline crazy. Seriously. I mean, damn near clinically. So, but what I'm moving into now is being authentic and understanding who I am as an individual. It's certain things I cannot do. Now, I can be upset, like I alluded to the part, it'll hurt, you know what I'm saying? And I'll voice it, but I can't push something that I can't fight. You get what I'm saying? I will have to be realistic. And like I said, there's two things that's going to happen. Either A, communicate with me what I need to do, or B, let me go. Because me going to that person, he can't change who he is. He is him. He next, so to speak. You get what I'm saying? I did whatever I can do, and my time is up. You know what I mean?
But how do you know that doesn't mean that you're not doing enough in that area to keep her attention on you? You just can't turn around and be like, oh, well, I ain't got that much juice in this particular area and he do, so that's that. It ain't that. It's like, well, man, what am I doing wrong? So let me step out. Let me step out.
Right.
In this particular
wait, but watch
she
this.
Can bring it right back to where it's supposed to be.
Now, right there. Now, look, to your point, if I have to do that, I'm not being me no more. I would not. I'm doing. If I have to do something extra to grab somebody and bring them back, they didn't want to be there no more anyway.
So listen.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna put it in a simplistic term, and I'm gonna leave it at this. Okay. Right. So
hey, come on up.
Say I'm a lazy dude by nature, right? I'm a lazy dude by nature.
Yes.
But I don't like to get up and do a motherfucker. If I'm at home chilling watching the game, if I'm on my beats or if I'm on the wheels or whatever I'm doing, that's what I want to do 24/7.
Yes.
I could be like, man, I ain't cleaning up. Hey, I ain't making sure there's no dinner. I'm not trying to worry about this, worry about that, because it's a mentality that's about me.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, you got to have a different mentality where, hey, I'm all about everything I can do, and I'm expanding my range every day to make sure I'm doing, even if it's something I don't want to do or I can't stand doing. You got to do those things because that's that sacrifice on your part. You just can't be like, well, this is me. This is how I get down. And if you ain't feeling it,
No. So again, and we'll take this and then we're gonna spread it.
Sure.
So the thing is, not saying that I'm not doing everything I can, but at the end of the day, I can only do what I can. That's what I'm saying. And you feel what I'm saying? Now watch this. Now if she or he say, hey, listen, I need you to do this. This is what I'm missing. This is what I need. This is what, and then I'm just sitting there lazy, and I hear you, but I'm still on Xbox. Yeah, I hear you. I'm on. Okay, so then when it happens, when they do step, don't be surprised. Like, all right, well, shit, you told me, so all right, now I'm gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad. You're gonna be butthurt, but. It is what it is. So go ahead, y'all speak on it.
So I think we're assuming that when you're married, that one person's passions become the other person's passion.
Right.
And so what somebody else is into as their partner, I'm supposed to be into it. So I don't think that's necessarily true. Now, I can support you. Sometimes I have to support you from a distance, but I can't be involved in everything you do. So this one I go back to say is two people that make up a marriage, okay? And you both are individuals, and that's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I want to bring up a point when we talking about the other people, right? So as a man, we got this thing where women do all kind of extra shit just to communicate something wrong with them, opposed to just communicating. Where they want us to guess what the problem is, guess what we may or may not have done, guess how we made you feel about an action that we are oblivious to. That right there, I think, alludes to your point at times where you don't want to step outside of yourself. When you're both adults, you're both grown, why not just simply communicate? But what happens is both men and women, we communicate outward versus inward.
Some do.
I will say, I've never talked about my wife on the show, but I will say she utilized this term that makes perfect sense, lean in. We so quick to lean out from our relationships that you allow other things to kind of impact how you think or how you see things, and they kind of expand on your own feelings versus you talk to the only person that can answer the question that you may have or to speak to those feelings that you may have. I don't think we give those opportunities enough time to kind of come to fruition because we're so busy reacting versus trying to be proactive.
Yeah, great point. So go ahead, Harmon, what you got?
Hey, so my birthday twin, Kalindra Banks, says sometimes it's not about what the other person is giving out, but about fulfilling the pain or absence within the person that is cheating. If you focus on what the other person is bringing to the table, then you will start enabling a void within yourself. So,
but what if that void is something that they can't bring to the table? They physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually cannot bring to the table.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Because you have relationships.
That's why I use the
that,
legs.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
like
what
they
you go out
can't.
and get some orthopedics? Not orthopedics. What is it? Prosthetics? Oh my goodness, y'all heard it. That's all right. It made sense. But nevertheless, what do you do? You know what I mean?
That's when you gotta have that. You gotta be transparent. You gotta talk about it. What are you willing to do? What are you not willing to do? Hey, is this right for me? Is this not right for me? So, alluded to your point, you just about transparency. Get a person an opportunity to make a decision.
Agreed.
Don't go out and do something and then make them have to eat what you've already done. Have that conversation because it's unfair to them.
Most definitely.
Agree.
Communicate. Yes.
You got something else, Harmon? What's that?
Oh, same Kalindra. She said, look at the entire picture. She is absolutely correct. It is two people, but a marriage. Hold on. But a marriage is not about the other folks. Temptation is real, but if you're not looking, then you. Here go my services reading.
Yeah.
If you're not looking, then you
Come
aren't
on, Larry.
looking. You are saying that you're good within yourself. I wanted to go back to the emotion part.
Okay.
Right? So for me, I don't think, like, if my woman is connecting to somebody else emotionally, she's out the door, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
That's true. I agree.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I might be able to survive a one night stand and she come back, you know what I mean? But if she's connecting emotionally, that means no matter what it is, it could be emotional over connect forward, whatever it is that they're emotional about. Eventually, that's going to lead to something else. Because ain't no dude going to sit there and be like, oh man, I just want this emotional connection. He's trying to get the draws. And it's going to get there eventually.
I understand that point of view. What do you guys have? You have anything on your life? Anyone is chiming in?
I got some comments.
Oh, what you got, Larry? Come on up to the mic, man. Because we're recording this live.
4 of them.
Okay.
So, George Street Soldiers said, are women helping to ensure that their other half is satisfied? We all know men and women get lazy in marriages. All right. I had Amy Bill said, this is why I think it's hard to have a relationship with the opposite sex or a friendship, not just a relationship, but a friendship.
Oh, really?
And then she also says, I feel like women are starting to learn not to get feels because it's easier not to get hurt in the end. But I also feel like this is why marriage is becoming a thing of the past. And then Ashley says, men are more emotional than women. They are emotional in general.
Go ahead, Ashley.
One day they're happy, the next day is dissatisfied.
Very true.
The next day they're excited. Women are reactive, not emotional.
Yes.
And then my aunt Linda says,
Come on, Auntie.
can a relationship truly be repaired once a side chick or side dudes has entered the relationship?
Yes.
I think the
Kevin Hart.
trust level,
I believe so.
Look at Kevin Hart.
says, I think the trust level in that relationship is gone forever. With that being said, now you are living day-to-day lie.
No.
Yeah.
I think it.
So
Is
The
it
individual person.
Men are super.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, so someone chimed in saying men are super emotional.
That is
Very
an
much so.
absolute fact.
Yeah, it is. Very,
That's right.
very. Y'all
Yeah,
very.
because
Y'all very.
a woman can handle somebody being cheated on before a man would.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If a man get cheated on, man,
Y'all
he's out
done.
the freaking door.
Y'all
I'm
done.
gone.
Bruh,
Yeah.
hold on.
It's very
Hold
true.
on.
It is very true.
A woman can
Very
accept
true.
that a lot
Wait a
more,
minute,
bro.
yes.
Come on now.
We have
It's
to
real,
know
bro.
it. He has
That's
that
all.
a lot
Not
more.
Check it out. Check it out.
Be
not
honest.
all men.
Let's go.
Very much true.
That's not all.
That's not all
I
men.
ain't never broke no windows, slashed no
No.
tires.
There is
We're not
not
saying
that.
that. We're not saying that.
Okay, so here, all right, and I understand what you're saying. Now, I think men, first of all, we all have emotions, right?
Right.
Where we put our emotions is different places. That's what I truly believe. Now, there's a book that's out that's called Women Think Like Spaghetti and Men Think Like Waffles. All right, women tend to attach things. Everything is connected. All right, and us men, we tend to compartmentalize things. Now, if I'm upset about a situation, I'm not going to be so physically or emotionally upset. I'm gonna break some stuff and I'm gonna hit you. Well, that's me personally, all right, and that's another subject, and I think we can talk about that later on about love languages, because you made a good point as far as how people talk to you, because your love language may be something else. However, I want to make sure individuals understand that I don't think it's about the sexes being more emotional. I don't think that's it. I believe it's the personal. It's personally, because so to generalize saying men are more emotional, that's crap.
So you don't think that women accept or handle another relationship better than men do?
No, I'm not saying that.
I agree.
That's
I
what
agree.
I'm not talking about like
Yes.
You just period. So to that point, I think that
I think it's two different questions.
it's two different questions. It's two different questions.
Let me get some of that.
All right.
Get some.
So here's the thing, man. What you're talking about, bro, is you're talking about power in a relationship. See, when if a man can do something in a relationship and the woman take that and accept that, you got to think a whole bunch of other factors is involved.
That's right.
Is there some kids involved? Does she have a job?
Security.
Yeah. What's she gonna do with herself if this guy walk out the door because he's cheating on me? You understand what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
Do I really want to blow this up and make him leave?
That's right.
What I'm about to do? You understand? He paying the rent.
That's right.
You feel me? So there's a lot of more
That's
things
what-
involved.
yes,
But somebody just accepted some shit. Nobody wants to be walked on. Period. You know
That's
what I'm
the thing.
saying? So keep that in mind.
It's the difference
Like that
between
individual
yes,
thing,
being
it's how you,
yes.
how your environment, how you was raised. Some people are meek.
That's right.
Some people can deal with stuff, have a lot more patience with something. Where some people just click on the instant. You know, if your phone looking kind of funny, if it's jiggling funny, man, you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, man, you got to know kind of what situation you're dealing with.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
the individual is very important because everybody reacts differently.
That's right.
You know,
Absolutely.
and if you don't know how to handle that situation, you could be taken advantage of.
That's right.
Or you could be sad and alone. You
That's
know what
right.
I'm saying? It's a whole lot of things involved with
Absolutely.
that, man. But man,
So what y'all think about this topic? So we're getting ready to wrap this on up. Larry, I think you're calling me by mistake. Bro. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so we're gonna go around one more time. We got any more comments on your end?
I do. Come back to me.
All right, cool. Will,
keep
you
it
got
simple.
any last words?
I don't agree with the side piece ordeal. Make a goddamn decision. There's too much stuff floating around out here. Disease is huge, especially in black communities. Be smart, think about it, be committed, get tested.
Okay, Larry, what you got, brother?
I don't have anything. I would just say this. Just know we don't live in a perfect world, man. Nobody's perfect. So what's
Right.
good 5 years ago may not be good right now at that moment. So, you know, life is life. Let's just be real with it. Life is life.
And keep your judgments to yourself. Ladies, thank you guys for speaking on this
Wait a
topic.
minute,
What you think?
wait a
What you
minute. No, I would just wanted to say that I don't agree with it, but I once again, you can't help what your heart wants, and that's how I feel about things, because we're all human, and we're gonna make mistakes, and just no judgment.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. If you can repair it, you can repair it. If you can't, you can't. That's what it is.
And Ms. Lee, you have anything to add?
Yeah, and I would say that it's not for me to agree or disagree with. I say everything is a case-by-case individual basis. Like, you know what's going on in your household and your marriage, but I will always advocate to consent.
Can you dig it? So I got Ronnie. She said, I think men leave because they view us as being tainted after we cheat. Another man took his ... So
that's another thing.
What I would like to end on.
I don't like sloppy sex.
Right.
Boy, I'll leave that alone.
What I like to end on is that, in this world, none of us are going to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? And people slip up, make mistakes.
Yes.
Some people stay in those mistakes. You know what I mean? It's not our role, like y'all said, to judge, point fingers, or whatnot. Try to be as transparent as you can, man. You know what I mean? Respect people, like you said, respect and love, but things happen in this world.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes another episode of The Lion's Den. Thank you. I know this was a touchy subject, but I appreciate the fact that we all discussed it with maturity. We didn't bash anyone, and it was great. So thank you all for coming out. Where can they find you at, brother?
You can find me in the streets, baby.
Right. Big Will, where they can find you at?
Instagram, 8,000 Ways all day. Facebook, Will.Spencer. Hey, man, y'all be easy. See y'all next week.
All right. Hey, Aaron, what you got, brother?
Hey, man, y'all see me on Y'all See Me, man. Just holler at your boy when you see me. Eyeballs on the yield.
All right. Larry Contrary.
Hey, man, you already know I'm on Facebook, so if you're on my live feed, you already know where to find me.
All right, we appreciate everybody. And ladies?
Smire, what are we talking about? I'm sorry.
Where we can find you?
Yeah.
Just Facebook.com, Facebook.
Okay.
SmireCondis.com.
Okay.
Yes, and you can't find me. Actually, I will find you. Okay, my page is super private, so I have a thing. Like, if I haven't broke bread with you or we're not blood, like, I do not accept friend requests. So
you ain't gonna find her.
I find you. Yeah.
Good. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for tuning in one last time, and I would like to say Happy New Year. This is the last episode of the decade.
Congrats, bro.
Yes.
Leave the episode with the song Sidepiece in the background.
I came home.
No, we will not be singing Sidepiece unless they pay me for it. Can you dig it? But so I want to thank you guys for tuning in. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook, because after today, the page, we're going to make some changes up, and I want you guys to look out for the new Patreon page. And that is going to be an opportunity for individuals to help donate to not just the Lion's Den, but also to other nonprofit organizations. So we're moving forward in 2020. So more to come. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Have a good one.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. Make sure to listen to the show on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, and Radio Public, where you can subscribe, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you like or dislike this episode, we'd appreciate your feedback on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Lionscast. Check out the book, The Black Collar Mindset, The Art of Strategic Thinking, on Amazon, or www.theblackcollarmindset.com, a manual to maneuver through life strategically by holding yourself accountable. Tune in next week for another episode of The Lion's Den with Seth.